Hi, Michael.
Hi, Derrick. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm trying to
Good to
figure
see
out
you.
how to make sure my tomato plant's growing like it's supposed to.
Oh, that's
But
important.
I know. I'm turning into a little farmer right now just to kind of try something different and to get my mind off of school. And so I have strawberries and I have tomatoes and I have some herbs and some flowers. And so my kids are like, woo.
That's great. I love it. That's awesome.
Things are
So,
good.
do you mind if we go Facebook Live while we're doing this?
No, that's absolutely fine. Let's go for it.
Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna turn it on and let's hope that it's all very easy to do. Let's see.
I think so. There it is.
Yeah, you're seeing it?
I see it. I see meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Oh, okay, great, great, very cool. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna get out of that and get back to us. And yeah, so you just finished up. Are you done with the year? Is that are
Yeah.
you close to it?
No, we are done. We've been done actually. Our last day of class was April 30th. And so I've tried to do everything but go to campus to go to campus, except to pick up my
Yeah,
kiddos from daycare and the summer
right.
school activities that they're doing on campus. But nope, everything's been good.
That's good. And so you were just talking about how you're growing stuff in your garden and
Yeah, yeah.
enjoying the start of summer. You guys had a big heat wave, I think about a week ago, two
Well,
ago.
we're
It was
going
like
through one now.
midsummer. You're
We're
dealing
going
with
through
one,
another one.
another one.
Yeah, we might have our highest temperature since 2017 on Thursdays. Supposed to be a temperature of 103, not a heat index,
Oh
but a
no.
temperature of 103. So I hope my tomatoes and all my plants make it through it. We'll see what happens. So
Yeah, yeah. This is not normal. I mean, to have two heat waves like this, and it's not even July yet.
not
This
even.
seems to be it seems to be rather unusual, if you ask me.
That's the scary part, that we're not into the typically hot part of the summer yet. So
Yeah,
thank
something's
thank
going
thank
on.
goodness for air conditioning. Central air is what
Yes.
we do in the Midwest. So
Absolutely. So, just for our viewers, that I think I think everybody that I'm Facebook friends with probably knows who you are. But if you could introduce yourself officially, that would be awesome.
yeah, sure. I am Derrick Fox. I'm here at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, where I'm the director of choral activities. And I've already told you that I'm a dad, and we have this.
Yeah.
We've also started this summer series called Summer Science and Travels with Avery. And so I do a video every week or two, just so we can keep learning happening during the summer and just to keep engaged. And so we do little science experiments, and sometimes we talk about different countries and learn things about different countries. And so I like to stay engaged that way. And I also like to teach teachers. And
Mhm.
so I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be a part of this festival that you're doing, and this workshop festival. I think there's so many different words you can call it because it's going to serve so many different purposes for
Yeah.
all the people who will be in attendance. But being diversity, equity, access, inclusion, and belonging advocate, ally, all the different words that people use, because it depends on the circle that you're in, that the word
Sure.
that you use. But my point is that I want people to have the spaces to be able to ask the questions that they need to ask, but also use those spaces to challenge people. Um, and I think we're better together. That is not to somehow infer that we can just be this one community that wipes out all the things that make us who we are, because that's not what the purpose of the work is at all. It's
Mhm.
recognizing how we are different and our different lived experiences can come together to make us stronger, and that we can lean on each other a little bit more, um, and not lean on some of those capital T truths that we learned through the cycle of oppression as we were growing up. Sometimes it's really hard to be able to say, look at some of the people who you've grown up with and go, actually, that's not my story. That's the story that I needed to be in front of you.
Yes.
And it takes a lot to be able to say something like that. So it's empowering people to be able to tell those stories.
Yeah. Awesome. And the title of the workshop that you're going to be giving is called Acknowledgement, Affirmation, and Action. I like that. AAA,
Yeah.
cultivating an inclusive choral community. And one of the things that I noticed is, and I think this is it really hits home to me, and I'm really looking forward to this, is the fact that you know unpacking the bias in ourselves. I think we go through our lives And until we're actively like, really listening, actively listening, we're not aware of biases that we may have, and how that affects other people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Something else for me, the inspiration for the workshop is, as musicians, we often focus so much on the tools and the tips and the tricks and how to engage with people from here in the programming. Let's program somebody from this community and this community and this community. But you still haven't tapped into the things about you, the non-musical things that make you who you are, that are a part of your lived experience, that play out in the classroom, and you may not even recognize it, that cannot be masked by the most diverse or inclusive programming.
Sure.
And so part of the process in this workshop is to actually take some steps back and start talking about us. Thinking about, in a non-musical way, some of the biases that you hold when you're not in the classroom, when you're at the grocery store and you're walking by someone, or you're walking down the street and you clutch your purse or your bag or your whatever, or you have what the feelings that you have when you're around people who may have different lived. We have to tackle those.
Yeah,
and singing a beautiful piece doesn't make them go away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're going to have a lot of choral singers that are not necessarily directors in this group. Can you speak to a little bit about how this workshop includes them in terms of being in a choir? Our choir over the summer, our virtual choir, but then also, going back into their own communities and singing in their own choirs. How does this? How do they how does this workshop work for them?
Yeah. So I think sometimes as singers in choirs, we are often allowed to disengage, and the conductor or the director is doing all the work. We're doing all the research and we're telling all the stories and all of that, but we are not really asking our singers to engage with each other. So now with these, hopefully, by going through this experience, you'll have the beginnings of the language to be able to foster relationships with people that will allow you to ask some of those difficult questions that you have. One of the fears of being a part of the conversation and then leading into action around diversity, equity, access, inclusion is belonging, is people are afraid to make a mistake, and we don't often give people the space to grow. You mess up, you messed up. And I think there has to be, there's a way to call people out in places where they clearly have not done the work that they need to have done to be in the position where they are in terms of leading. That space still needs to be there. But I also think that we also need to have that space available for that person who wants to come back and go acknowledge, okay, I didn't do the work that I'm ready to do. And because I didn't know, or I did know, and I chose to, because of my privilege, not engage. Or I didn't do it because I was in a space that there were people who were all like me and I didn't have to. And so as a singer, sometimes you might be the one who I call mentoring up. You may have to go to that person who's leading the choir and say, hey, what about this, this, and this? What about these? Here's how I felt when I was singing this. Can you help me work through some of these experiences that I have in here? Especially those singers who are, I'm just going to be really honest with you, the ones who say things like, we are white people, should we be singing spirituals? First of all, yes, you should. And this kind of workshop is built to be able to teach you to understand why you need to be doing that, and why that's a part of being an ally, and why that's almost as strong, if not stronger, than walking down the street with a sign and then you posting a picture on Insta, Twitter, or whatever you have, with you throwing up a peace sign and a Black Lives Matter poster. If you don't know why you're out there, then that's performative allyship. And that sets us all back.
Performative allyship, yeah. One of the things that I've been doing, this pandemic has afforded me, well, I don't know if it was the pandemic. I think this was something that was just going on inside me beforehand, but obviously the murder of George Floyd really, was I think I'm hoping, we don't know in our world, because how many times have we had turning points? Sandy Hook with gun violence, it's like, oh, this is the turning point. Well, no, it's not. But, it just, for me, it was like, all right, I need to get better. Actually, for me, it was working with Adrian Dunn. I don't know if you know Adrian Dunn. His moniker was Mr. Hip Opera. He sings. He's an amazing opera singer who has his own. He has the Adrian Dunn Singers, and he's outside. He's located in Chicago, and he wrote one of the movements of The Unarmed Child with me.
Yeah,
that's right. And based on conversations I had with him, I realized there was so much I never heard or never learned. If I say never learned, then I'm kind of putting it on other people to have educated me rather than for me to have sought education, right? But there was so much that I needed to learn. 13th opened my eyes. That movie, Free Meek on Netflix. I don't know if you're familiar with Free Meek.
Not yet. You say Free Me?
Free Meek.
No, not yet.
He's a rapper, and he's been
Meek Mill. Yeah, I know the rapper. I just don't know that particular movie on Netflix.
Yeah, How to Be an Anti-Racist with Kendi, and then right now I'm reading The Warmth of Other Suns, and it's such it's like the information. It's like this was never part of my education. And I think, that's one of the challenges right now in our country, is the fact that there is a push to kind of put that back in the, like to kind of shelve that, kind of put that back in the cupboard and close it and, put a do not enter sign on it. And then there's other states or other, that are like, I need to learn this. This is something that's really important. And I failed at this point to bring that in, so, yeah.
What I think also this workshop that I'm going to do, it's only an hour, but it's not going to get everything, but it's going to plant a lot of questions and hopefully set you on a path to want to find more information. Is that doing this work does not and should not be separate from the music making, and that's where this idea of culturally relevant pedagogy comes in. Not culturally entertaining pedagogy. Say that again for everybody in the back. Culturally relevant pedagogy is much different than culturally entertaining pedagogy. Putting up a video of somebody from a culture singing a piece or performing a piece and having students engaged and not learning anything about that culture, about the people from which that music came, and even learning about, some of that. One of the examples I posted on my Facebook page was about singing the I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 and talking about the business side of that as well. Because these folks are not only just R&B singers or rappers or from whatever culture they're singing, they're also business people and teaching students about a full range of things. Because when we say things like we want people to see themselves reflected and respected in the work, we also want them to know the wealth that can come from that, the wealth of knowledge. We also want them to be able to sustain their lives on that music. By giving them pathways into like publishing and things like that. I'm getting way off topic and we're going to end up talking for a whole hour, but I'm just excited.
It's very easy to do that.
It really is. I'm excited about all the facets. And I know that's a lot to say that can happen in a 1 hour session, but I do think that there's so much that can be gained by taking a step back from filling our bags with tips and tricks and things like that, and just focusing on who we are, how the cycle of oppression manifests itself in our own lives, so that we can see it more, how it unfolds in the classrooms and the institutions in which we do music and participate in music.
That is great. I am really, really looking forward to this, Derrick. Thank you.
I'm excited to be a part of it. So thank you for asking.
One last question. What was one thing that kept you sane during the pandemic?
Wow, that is
because you're here. You're still here.
Yeah, I know,
right?
Smiling. That's to assume that I was sane during the pandemic.
I think we all kind of dipped out of that for a while at different points.
I think what helped, this was a tough year in a lot of ways, not just the pandemic, the virus pandemic, but the pandemic we have going on socially.
Yeah.
And I lived in a lot of spaces where I had to mentor up and step up and speak to some truth in some places. at least my truth in some spaces where that truth may not have necessarily been a part of the fabric of the construction of those spaces. And so I really had to find some things to hang on to. And this is gonna, I know people are gonna go, he's just saying it because people are watching. But I had to remember that every time I left wherever I was, that there were people who were in this house where I am now who needed me to be me fully.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to pull back and not engage in every way so that I could have something left to be at home.
Yeah.
Just because my young ones, they're at an age now where they remember things.
Yeah.
And it's important for me to not let this is a major time. A pandemic is major, but it doesn't need to be one of the defining moments of their lives. And I owe
Right.
that, and I owe that to them. And I owe that to my wife, who is not a music educator. And I wanted to make sure that I was being who I said I was going to be to my family and who I needed to be to my family. I know that wasn't a really direct answer, and it's probably,
No, I get it. I mean, families keep us sane, and they have a way of bringing out the best in us in tough times. They need you, and you're here.
They need me, and I'm here. That's a great way to say it.
So, Dr. Derrick Fox, thank you so much for joining us for this festival. I think it's just going to be so incredibly valuable. I'm really looking forward to this workshop. The festival is July 12th through 23rd, Mondays through Fridays for those 2 weeks. People can find it on my website at mbqstudio.com/festival. And thanks again, and I'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Take care.
All right, Michael. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.